Hello, good evening. Welcome to another live stream. Let me know if you guys can hear me okay. I'm gonna go in the chat to see if my mic is working. Hopefully we don't have a lot of technical difficulties this live stream. Hey everybody, let me know if my mic is okay, if it's loud enough. Mic is okay? Good, good, good. Make sure it is on my end. Mic is okay? Good, good, good. Okay, it sounds good on my end. So, as you can see by the title, we're going to talk about the Diddy documentary. And I'm not going to like go into everything that was on the documentary. I want to talk about the response the documentary has been getting from the community because I think that's much, much more interesting. And to be honest, overall, I don't have too much to say about this, but many of you wanted my opinion. So I decided to hop on and talk about it for a little bit. And just an FYI, if you did not know, I am doing content for Neptunian members and patrons, exclusive content. So if you're interested in my strategy advice or just my other opinions on other topics, the links to join are in the description box. And also, if you're enjoying my content, don't forget to like this video, share, and subscribe. Now, back to tonight's topic. So, a couple weeks ago, I think it was a couple weeks ago, Netflix released a documentary on Sean Combs or Diddy, and it's called The Reckoning. And I think there's another documentary coming up. Um, I think on, is it Amazon Prime? I don't know. Somebody else is coming out with another documentary on Diddy. So I just have a feeling we're going to get a lot more of these. But I got a few requests to talk about this one in particular. So I was like, okay, let me go ahead and watch it. The rapper 50 Cent was one of the producers of the film. But this particular documentary, it examines all of the allegations and lawsuits and public scrutiny surrounding Diddy and the impact it's had on his career and really the entire music industry. And I thought it was done pretty well. I didn't think I was going to get through the whole thing, but it definitely kept my attention. I think a lot of what was in the documentary I already knew. We all know who Diddy is, allegedly. I gotta say allegedly, okay? Because his people like to sue, okay? But it's not a secret. It's never been a secret who Diddy is. And again, I'm not going to break down each part of the documentary. There are already tons of people who already did that. And I just don't care enough to do that. But as always, I'm more interested in discussing Black people's response to the documentary and just Diddy in general and what that response says about the collective of Black people. And I also have a video I did about Diddy and all his girlfriends and all his, S workers or whatever. That's behind the wall. It's for Neptunian members and patrons. So if you haven't seen that, go check that out. Um, but for those who don't know, in this particular Diddy documentary, they did give us some background on his upbringing, and they immediately went into the relationship he had with his mother, Janice Combs. And on the documentary, the co-founder of Bad Boy, I forget his name. I'm sorry. You guys can put it in the chat. He revealed that Janice was an abusive parent. And at one point after Diddy got famous, they got into it and Janice slapped him or something like that. But Janice, she did deny the allegations and she said that none of it was true. So we have to say allegedly. We have to say allegedly. Okay. I don't know if it's true. We've heard some things about Janice over the years. We heard that she was an S worker and a madam and all kind of stuff. So listen, allegedly, okay? But she is out here denying the allegations. And the documentary also revealed that Diddy's father, he was a gangster. He was unalived when he was very young. I think he was like 2 years old. And so that left Janice to raise Diddy on her own. And they talked about how she was very image conscious and would dress him in these suits and elaborate clothes, and how she would make him perform for the adults at these parties that she had. And they showed a clip of her on a talk show. I forget which talk show it was, but basically she was alluding to possibly doing S work while Diddy was young. I forget how she put it, but she kind of alluded to that, that she did sexy work, or she would model lingerie for some or something. I forget how she put it, but if you put two and two together, you kind of know what she was saying. Right. And again, there's been rumors over the years about her doing S work, and her taking Diddy to work with her and making stops while she was in the car. It's alleged, but those rumors are out there. But regardless of all that, Janice, she sent Diddy to an all boys Catholic school. He also went to Howard University for a couple years. So I want to make it clear that Diddy by no means is a street dude like his father was. Okay. He was actually quite dorky and square before getting into the industry. Yeah. Y'all are saying this is his auntie. Girl, I don't know. Look. Yeah, her blonde hair is it's just Lord. Typical street chick. That's what she is. Um yeah, but Diddy, he didn't grow up exactly like his father. He wasn't like this gangsta, right, paper gangster, exactly. He wasn't like, out in the streets dealing drugs and doing all that. He was not doing that. And his mother, despite, what everybody's saying about her, she clearly kept him out of the streets. I didn't hear anything about him like being involved in any drug activity or anything like that before he got into the industry. But of course, the black community is doing what they always do, and they're blaming Diddy's actions on his mother. They're saying that they're not doing that, but they are. Like, when it's all said and done, like, so a lot of the commentary I've seen, that's exactly what they're trying to do. And I want to be clear. I don't, I do think that it's possible that Diddy's childhood had an impact on how he turned out. I do think it's possible that Janice may have groomed him. And, I'll be honest, I do find their relationship weird. You know, I've seen some clips of them, and it's just kind of odd. Like, I saw one clip of them and they were talking, and he was talking about his mom, how she could do a handstand or something like that, and she could put her hands flat on the ground. I'm like, why are you talking about your mom that way? So, I do think she's weird. I think she's freaked out. I think she's a weirdo. You know, um, yeah. So it just, and to me, their relationship, it does seem emotionally incestuous, like a lot of relationships between black women and their sons are. I saw this thing earlier on Blueface and his mama, and I don't even keep up with them, but I saw a clip on Instagram where they have that weird emotional incestuous relationship too. Like, he had to tell her, like, I'm not your man, and it's just weird. And then he said something like, oh, you're not my type. And I'm like, why would you say that to your mother? So it's like, I don't know. It's just weird to me. And it seems like Diddy and his mom have a similar relationship. Um, and to me, it just looks like Janice is a typical hood chick. Typical hood chick. She grew up in the streets, got with a drug dealer and or a pimp, because his daddy was giving pimp vibes, okay? Um, Possibly became an S worker, allegedly, made her money by any means necessary so that Diddy, could have a good life and she could take care of her kids. And then when you come from poverty, there's just bound to be some level of toxicity and dysfunction. So if she was abusive, it was likely because she too was abused by her parents. It's a cycle that gets passed down from generation to generation. Yeah. Oh yeah, it's not just a black thing. It's definitely not just a black thing, but I'm saying I feel like when you're raised in poverty, right? and you don't have a lot of resources, it just exacerbates the dysfunction that's already there. And we see this with poor white people too. You know what I mean? So it's like anytime there is, no money, no resources, and poverty, like the dysfunction gets worse. It doesn't matter the race of people it is, right? But I just want to take note of how Janice is not getting the same context that black men get when they grow up in poverty and they grow up to do bad things. If you notice, and black women, you need to really take note of this, because I really haven't seen anybody talking about this like that. But the community, they're not blaming Janice's behavior on poverty. They're not blaming her behavior on the system of white supremacy and the white man and all the oppressive systems. Have y'all noticed that? And I think that's very important to highlight, because anytime black men and black fathers ain't shit and they're dysfunctional and they're, doing a whole bunch of crazy shit, it's the white man's fault. And everything that the black man does wrong, it's because the white man in the system is keeping the black man down, or it's because his mommy. Have y'all noticed that? It's like, when it comes to black women, it's personal responsibility, and they're just like that. They're just inherently or innately fucked up. But then when it comes to Diddy and other black men like him, it's his mama's fault. And then when it comes to his mama, it's, she's just fucked up. There's no context given to why she's fucked up. And Diddy, he's fucked up because of his mama, and men like him who come out of the, projects, or who was raised in poverty, raised in the hood or whatever, they're fucked up because of white men and white supremacy. They're fucked up because white people put drugs in the black community. Like, it's always it's always something out of their control. Always. So do y'all see the pattern here? Janice, she sent Diddy to an all-boys Catholic school. And you never know. It could have started there, because a lot of people were saying, Janice abused him when he was young, and, she was a PEDO or whatever. That's possible. But, some of them Catholic schools, they have that reputation. But she did send him to an all-boys Catholic school. He went to college, managed not to get into any trouble until he got into the industry. And the first person black people are blaming is his mama? Y'all not blaming Clive Davis and all the other predatory men, both black and white, who are in the industry that mentored him? Y'all skip over all those people and go to his mama? So do y'all see how it can never be the black man's fault? When are black men ever responsible for their actions the same way black women have to be responsible for our actions? Constantly blaming black mothers on their sons' poor behavior after they reach adulthood, that is not helping them, ladies. Black women infantilizing grown men is not helping them. That's part of the problem now. That's all I'm saying. And this is not me again, because I know it's going to be perceived as, you taking accountability away from his mom. But no, she's a weirdo. And I said that a million times. I don't know how many times y'all want me to say it. She's weird. So I'm not saying it hasn't impacted him. But it's like, all I know is that when black women turned out fucked up, they're like, this context is never given. Yeah, I know he dropped out of Howard University. That's why I said I think he went for a couple years and then dropped out. But like, either way, again, he did not get in trouble until after he was an adult. Like, he wasn't gang banging in the streets. He wasn't, slanging rock or whatever. He wasn't doing none of that. And, I do think that the conversation about his mother can be had, but we should be hearing, I should be hearing, and I should be hearing more conversation about all of the men who enabled Diddy's behavior and participated in that behavior with him. And until black people are ready to have that conversation, like, I really can't take y'all seriously, because I see a lot of people hyping up, 50 Cent for co-producing this documentary, but doesn't 50 Cent also have abuse allegations against him? And he, look at him all hugged up with Diddy back in the day. Like, y'all don't think that that's weird? And then I put in here where he was accused of abuse allegations from his baby mama or ex-girlfriend, whoever it was. He was accused of abusing his son, his baby mama. And so I'm like, look, 50 Cent longtime island home burns down. And then it says, hold on, I can't. Let me look on my phone because I can't see. It says the mother of 50 Cent's child accused the rapper of trying to burn them to death after a suspicious fire ripped through their Long Island home early today. So he tried to unalive me and his own child. This is from Shaniqua Thompson. And so it's like, what's going on? So all I'm saying is, I think, listen, and don't get me wrong. I think it's good that 50 Cent is he did the documentary, but this came after he was all hugged up with Diddy. I think he was in one of his videos and everything. So is he doing it because he truly cares about Diddy's victims? Or is it because, Diddy was having freak offs with his baby mama? Allegedly. And I'm just saying, I can't take y'all seriously if y'all are not holding the people accountable who have the most power to end all of this. And not just when, they have a personal vendetta against somebody because they was messing with their baby mama. Look, they in a hot tub together and everything. And I think I got these pictures from Ja Rule because Ja Rule and 50 been having beef for years. And so he's posting it like, dude, y'all were cool. What happened? And I don't like none of them niggas. I don't like none of them. Yeah. Selena says lovers quarrel vibes. Exactly. So when the documentary gonna come out on 50, I'm waiting for that. And all I'm saying is, let's not let the men off so easy and focus all of our attention on the women when it's the men who are the main culprits here. And black women, y'all swear y'all hate the patriarchy and y'all hate men so much, black men or whatever, but y'all never have smoke for the literal groups of men that make it possible for one man like Diddy to get away with the kind of crimes that he's been getting away with for decades. For decades. And this is why, because they're all in it together. It wasn't just, I have my criticisms with the women too, but it wasn't just them who went along with all this stuff for the money, but it was other men too. And it was powerful men who enabled Diddy and protected him. There's a reason why he got away with this shit for so long. And all I'm saying is, if the women can't be victims, then neither can the men. And it's time that we hold all of their feet to the fire, including those who are involved in this documentary because they allowed it to go on for so long. Because, even when you listen to the niggas in the documentary talking, it's like, and they're like, yeah, I heard Cassie getting her ass whooped, and yeah, I saw him slap his mama, and yeah, I saw him beating this one girl, and I'm like, and you ain't do nothing with your bitch ass. You a grown ass man, you didn't do nothing? And so it's like, they don't ever just really want to say anything until they get burnt. Until Diddy fucked them over, and until Diddy didn't pay them. You get what I'm saying? And I'm willing to have a conversation about the abusive, toxic mothers and all the toxic women that were involved with Diddy. I'm willing to have that conversation. We have had that conversation. But Only when y'all get honest about black men and you stop infantilizing them can I take y'all seriously. That's all I'm saying. Everything black men do wrong is not always their mommy's fault or the white man. Sometimes they're just bad people. Just like some black women are just bad people, the same thing applies to black men. And, you know, if we're going to have a conversation about black people, you know, becoming victims to their circumstance or their environment and, you know, being impacted by poverty and street culture and gang culture and hoe culture and pimp culture and whatever, that can't just stop at black men and boys, because there are black men, or I'm sorry, black women and girls who grew up in that same environment and they were affected the same way. Yet they never get the same type of context. They never get the same type of empathy. Never. Again, Janice was a street chick. She grew up in poverty just like her gangster husband or baby daddy. Were they married? I can't remember. But it's like, when are these women going to get the same context? Oh, yeah, Dr. Dre is terrible. I'm waiting on his documentary, too. He's one of the worst. But yeah, it's no context. And I have to say, I have to come here and talk about this. And, you know, I peeped this a long time ago when I came online caping for black men. And this is part of why I burned the cape. Because I noticed that black men and their mammies, it's not just black men, it's their mammies too, but I noticed that black men would pathologize the black women and girls who grew up in poverty and made poor decisions, and they would pathologize them like they were just inherently fucked up. But then when it came to black men who came from the same environment and the same situation, they were fucked up because of the environment and the system and the white man and the community. They still give black men those excuses, but not black men. And I see y'all doing that a lot with Diddy in this conversation. It's just a little bit too much focus on his mama for me. And see, this is one reason I stopped caping for black men years ago, because I saw the difference in how they would talk about dysfunctional black women versus dysfunctional black men. And I saw how they would continuously infantilize and coddle black men. And that's, you know, that's when I started to wake up and finally see what these other black women who already knew this were trying to tell me. I was like, oh, I get it. I get it now. Mm-hmm. Sinquet says, thank you. I hated how Dr. Dre did D Barnes. Yeah. And then before I got on here, y'all said that they were attacking Diddy's twins. I hadn't even seen that. Well, you know what? I take that back. I did see that, but not during this documentary. I actually saw that when he was on trial. And they were trying to like pathologize his twins for like, you know, taking up for their father. And I'm like, well, that's their father. Like, what do you expect? Like, I would think in this situation, I wouldn't take up for my dad, but they're young, you know? And so again, like if you're in that environment and it's like, once again, you're focusing on the twins. He has boys, he has sons. So what about them? I didn't see anybody talking about his sons. So it's like, why are you only pathologizing the girls? Again, it's one-sided. And in that documentary, his son was, both of his sons. I think he has, I don't know how many sons he has, but I know two of them. The one that looks like him, and the light-skinned one who looks mixed race that he had with the first girl. They were right next to him. Basically, he raising him to be two of his little yes men. Yeah. Salima says, and his sons have actual allegations. Crazy. And one of his sons was in there like, yeah, and they something about, yeah, and they did this to a black man. So I'm like, oh my God, here we go with that. So it's like, it's just too much focus on the girls and the women. No focus on these men, grown men who have way more power than the women in this situation. And see, this is why I say black women, being that you don't get the same grace, black women, girls don't get the same grace as the men and the boys. That's why it doesn't pay to be a mammy. That's why it doesn't pay to cape for black men in this community, because there's no comparison or context for black women. There's zero compassion. All of the compassion and the context is typically reserved for black men. And, you know, they'll lie and say that black men are always demonized in the black community, and, you know, they'll try to make it seem like they're just these victims. But I see a ton of black people who are always making excuses for black men and their behavior. Even when they're supposedly reprimanding them, they still make excuses for them. Again, when they're abusive, it's white supremacy, the white man's fault. When they're colorist, it's because white men made them be colorist, or their mama made them be colorist. And I keep saying, it's just like, y'all don't know your history. White men didn't even create colorism. Colorism was in Africa and parts of Asia before the white man even colonized those places. But nobody wants to have those conversations. Nobody wants to talk about that. But nothing the black man does can ever only be his fault. And the minute you criticize them and you actually hold them accountable without blaming anyone else, they lose their shit. They lose it. And that's how you know they're not really used to being held accountable and criticized without blaming it on the white man and white supremacy. I mean, look at how people attack me. When I criticize white men on my channel, crickets. Nobody says anything when I criticize white men. When I criticize black women, crickets. Nobody says anything. The minute I criticize black men, them and their mammies, oh my God. You talking about the meltdowns, the tantrum throwing. I mean, it is just crazy. Next thing you know, they're stalking me. They're harassing me. They're trying to dox me to their followers. They writing songs about me. They writing books about me. That's what happens when you actually criticize black men and you hold them accountable. But see, that is the behavior of adults who are used to being babied and coddled and not used to being fully held accountable. That's why they act like that. They act like children when you hold them accountable. Why? Because the community treats them like children. Y'all infantilize them. You treat them like they're babies. That's why they act like babies. They act like man babies. So part of this is our fault, your fault as black women. And so we got to stop infantilizing these men. They're grown-ups. They're not little boys. Yeah, I don't give a fuck what they talking about, girl. My haters, they despise when I criticize black men, and they think they can bully me into not criticizing them. So guess what? I'm going to keep criticizing black men. I'm going to keep doing it just because, partially because I want to. But the other part is just because you think you're going to stop me from doing that. You think you're going to bully me out of sharing my opinion. You're not. Same goes for colorist, mixed women, light-skinned women as well. I'm going to keep covering the stories as they come, just to piss my haters off even more. You're not going to be able to shut me up. I say what the fuck I want. Yeah, I don't know anything about Dr. Simone. I'll have to look into that. What happened with Dr. Simone? I'm a little bit out of the loop and I have to catch up on my emails too. I don't know if somebody already sent it, but just let me know. Send it to askchrissy@gmail.com. Yeah, I already did a video on Sharon. I did that the day before yesterday. Yeah, Dagger Rose says, then we'll shift the blame when you criticize them, but accuse others of lacking accountability in the same breath. Exactly. Yeah, y'all know I don't watch reality TV like that. I'm out of my whole reality TV phase. So, even with this documentary, again, I didn't think I was gonna watch the whole thing, but it kept my interest. So I was like, oh, okay, I'll keep watching. Yeah, well, y'all send me the story. I haven't heard anything about Dr. Simone. Who y'all talking about, that lady from Married to Medicine? Is that who you're talking about? Mm. Gigi says, Chrissy, did you notice all the women had the same look from the Miss to the personal assistant? They all look like Cassie. Yeah, a lot of the women look like, the same woman. They definitely do. And I don't know if y'all watch, I'm a little bit woo woo. Y'all know I'm a little bit on the woo woo side. But I don't know if y'all have seen the TikTok astrology girls breaking down Diddy's birth chart. He has a lot of Scorpio placements. Didn't I tell you about them Scorpios? I'm sorry if I got some Scorpios in here, but listen, people with a lot of Scorpio placements, they can be very powerful people and use their power for good, right? But when they use their powers for evil, they are obsessive, destructive demons, and they can even be deadly. And this can obviously apply to any sign, but Scorpios are a special kind of evil. I keep trying to tell y'all that. I'm so sorry, but Scorpios can be very jealous and stalkerish and vindictive. And I feel like Diddy really embodies his sign. I hate to say it, but and listen, for the slow heads out there, I'm not blaming his behavior on his zodiac sign. Because y'all know y'all start to get real stupid when I talk about the zodiac. But if you understand astrology, you know what I'm saying. You know I'm saying that his astrological DNA, it matches up with who he is. And it's just strange how, when you actually look at a person's chart, it's like exactly, it says everything. Like, it's kind of scary how accurate astrology is. Ew, it's just gross. Yeah, and then when you think about how freaky he is, oh my God. Cray cray. And I told you, most of my haters on this app are Scorpios, or they have a lot of Scorpio placements. Like, Scorpios be having that real obsessive energy. I'm trying to tell y'all. Okay, yeah, I'll have to check out the clip of Dr. Simone. And then I think 50 Cent is a Cancer, and girl, when cancers, when we get our feelings hurt, it's pretty much. And with male cancers too, I feel like male water signs in general are crazy. That's why I can't do it. Even as someone who's a Cancer myself, I cannot date another water sign male. I tried, I can't do that ever again. Because all of them are crazy. I ain't gonna say all of them, but it's a special kind of, like, they don't, when they don't have control of their emotions, they become very destructive. I don't know. I'm not gonna talk about it on this live, but I may come back and maybe do a live stream and talk about it if I feel compelled to talk about it. I gotta watch the clip first. Yeah, and then when you add the fact that it's the dysfunction in the black community, it's just a recipe for disaster and destruction and death and ugh. I mean, when one person is surrounded by that much death and destruction, if you watch the documentary, like, Diddy was always in the middle of some type of death and destruction. And I'm like, this motherfucker's a demon. That's demonic. When you're always surrounded by death. And it just seemed like in the documentary, it just seemed like he was unaffected by it all. I mean, even the way he treated Biggie and, the way he just acted, like, with that, and how they were talking about he made did he pay for his own funeral? Basically, he took the money out of his estate, and he just fucked over so many people when it came to finances and money. And record deals, and he was just a demonic person, and it just seems like he had no remorse for anything he ever did. Like, people like that, they're so fucking scary to me. Yeah, just really bad energy. Yeah, listen, I don't know. They kind of alluded to him getting Tupac set up. I don't know. Again, I hate to bring it back to the signs, but you know them Scorpios be real jealous like that. And I do believe that he was jealous of Biggie and Pac's friendship at first. I think he was jealous of that for sure. I believe what they said about that. Cause y'all know at first Biggie and Pac were cool. And because Pac really wasn't fucking with Diddy like that, he was jealous. So I don't know. I don't know. The evidence in the documentary seemed strong when it came to, him possibly getting Pac set up. And then the way that he was trying to, like, the way he did. He wasn't trying to, but he capitalized so much off of Biggie's death after he was gone. I mean, the way he was just all in the spotlight and, directed all the attention to him. And I was like, that is some narcissistic shit. You basically get this man unalived, allegedly, because you had him in Los Angeles when you knew that motherfuckers had it out for him. You knew they was trying to find him for what happened to Pac. So you had him out there, you trying to flaunt or whatever. That is some sick shit. That's some sick ass shit when you think about it. And then after his death, you basically monetize the whole thing, and you use it to basically push his own celebrity even further, like, to make his. And when I think back to that time and that song he had with Faith Evans about Biggie, you know how I used to love that song. And I think about that now today, and I'm like, oh my God, like, the way he had the whole community under a spell during that time, and behind the scenes he was doing all that demonic shit. Like, that's actually kind of scary when you think about it. That's actually scary. Like, he was putting spells on people basically. Like, it's just crazy. It's crazy, and I think about this too as someone who's a musician and someone who does music. It's so interesting how music can cover up the flaws. The music is like something that can forgive a person's evil, or make you kind of not see it or not want to see it. Like, it's really good at painting illusions, definitely in the music industry. And that's why, when we talk about astrologically, they say that Neptune rules music, and, Neptune is all about illusions and, creating fantasies. And it's like, it's so interesting how music, a good song, can kind of like forgive everything. It's just crazy. It's crazy. And it kind of really makes me glad too, because I was on the trajectory. Like, when I was in my teens, when I was 18 and 19, I was on the trajectory to becoming an artist. I thought that's what I wanted to be. And I knew, like, the kind of shit, and I shared a little bit about like my experience in the industry for members and patrons. There are people, I won't say any names, but there are people who have tried me. And that whole thing where they try to get Black women especially to kind of sleep their way to the top, that is true. And if you don't participate in that, you are punished. I'm not saying it happens to everybody, but you are punished if you don't participate in that. And I just knew, like, the part of the reason why I decided that I didn't want to be an artist is because of the craziness and the evil that happens in the industry. And I'm so happy I didn't get caught up in that. I don't even know, like, if I would be here if I would have continued along that path. Because it's a lot of shit that goes on that people don't talk about. Girl, they will punish you, especially if you're a unambiguous dark-skinned Black woman. They expect you because they feel like, oh, well, you're not really supposed to be here anyway. You don't deserve this anyway. So what are you going to give me? so I can pass your record to the right person. Like it's just crazy. I got stories for days. I probably will never tell all of it, but let me tell you, it's some crazy shit that has happened. And I'm so happy like I did not go down the path I was going down when I was 18 and 19 years old. Cuz I was planning to go to Florida to go to Full Sail, and it was just so many things I was going to do. I was like, yeah, I'm going to be an artist, I'm going to be a singer, I'm going to be in the industry, girl. And you know, when I looked at that documentary and I saw like all those girls from making the band, I could relate to that hunger that they had, and you know, that kind of that desperation to be in the industry. And it's like if you get that chance with that one person, you know, it does in the moment because you want it so bad, it doesn't, all that other stuff doesn't really matter. Cuz I know, I think it was which person was it? Was it Babs Bunny, whatever her name is. She was on the documentary and she said that she showed her lawyer the contract for making the band. And her lawyer basically told her, he was like, yeah, you're basically, you know, signing up to not get paid, and you're just basically signing up to be famous. Basically, you ain't gonna get paid, but you'll be famous. And she just was like, I signed it. She's like, cause it's Diddy, I signed it. She was like, what the fuck? This is a once in a lifetime opportunity. You think I'm not gonna sign? Hell yeah. And so I could relate to that kind of desperation being so young. And you got to give these women some grace too, because again, they were very, very young in this situation. Do you know how rare it is to come across a millionaire or a billionaire who's willing to listen to you and your music and willing to put you on a show or put you on a record or whatever? You have that opportunity. Most people are going to take it. Most people are going to take it. Even if it's some bullshit, they're going to take it because they're like, this does not happen every day. Yeah, I think she should have listened to her lawyer too, for sure. And you see how it didn't help her or any of the members from making the band. I mean, where are they now? None of them are popular at all. Is anybody like still doing music for making the band? I'm trying to think. Kalina, I think she's doing music, and Kalina's really talented. Kalina is good, but she is just, she's a bird. Like, if I was Kalina, I wouldn't even have been on that documentary at all. That nigga couldn't even give her $5,000 to help get her kids back. A billionaire. She asked that nigga for $5,000 so she could pay her attorneys or whatever so she get custody of her kids. He couldn't even do that for her. And wasn't Kalina at one point defending Diddy? And then you went on the documentary, girl. Oh my God. I just say all that to say, like, I'm just happy that I did not go down that path. Like, yeah, I'm a YouTuber. I'm virtually a nobody. I probably could have been in a better situation, in a position in the industry. But I'm happy I did not go down that route. And then when I think about like even the music I was creating in, girl, I would have been so fucking ghetto. I would have been a bird. I'm just happy I didn't go down that route. Like I would have been right up there looking like Kalina and Babs looking stupid. I'm just so happy I didn't go down that path. Cause it's crazy. Yeah, it's called Hollyweird. Yeah. Whitney says Beyonce wasn't punished. I mean, listen, it doesn't happen the same for everybody. Beyonce got a head start. She got a head start with she from being in a family. First of all, Beyonce was raised upper middle class. That's the first thing that separates her from everybody else. Okay? So like you can't even compare Beyonce to the other girls, like cuz she started out, her foundation was much stronger. She had somebody, she had a patriarch in her family to fight for her, and to put her in certain positions. So it's totally different. Totally different. Yeah, her parents invested in her career and she grew up with money. Money changes everything, y'all. And then when you add the light skin privilege, it's just a whole. But when you're a woman, a young woman, especially unambiguous dark skinned woman, raised in poverty, the path to success, it can look a little different. And I'm not saying it's that way for everybody, but I'm just saying I understand. I understand. And then they try to get you to go to these like writing camps. That's another thing I was unwilling to do as a songwriter. I'm like, you want me to go to these writing camps and basically put out all my ideas, share all my ideas with all these other people. I don't know where my song is going to end up at. I don't have copyright on my music. It's like I just knew it was some bullshit. I knew it was some bullshit. I think they mentioned the writing camps in the documentary, but I had an opportunity to do that too. And I said no. I'm like, why would I do that? Like I was always, and I don't know if this goes back to me being a Cancer. I was always very protective of my music, and I still am. I'm like, I'm not gonna just play my songs for people. I'm not just gonna just send you my music. I don't know you. I'm not just gonna collaborate and have just open myself up to people stealing my ideas. Like what? That's crazy. And that's another thing. Like songwriters in the industry, especially black female songwriters, get treated like shit. Tiffany Red, she always be going off about that shit. I don't know if y'all know who Tiffany Red is, baby, but she put the industry on blast when it came to how, especially they treat black female songwriters. It's diabolical. It's diabolical. Yep, they screwed Candy over. Yep, they sure did. Remember when that white girl from Housewives of Atlanta took her song and she didn't get paid for her song? So that's what I'm saying. You can't be all willy nilly with your music and just think that, girl, people just be stealing shit. It's just crazy. It's crazy. The industry is so fucking grimy. And that's why I got out, because I didn't like the business part of it. Like, I wanted to create music and, be in the studio. And I really didn't love performing. That wasn't really my thing, but I love to write and be in the studio and come up with ideas and, all that stuff. But when I saw how grimy the music industry was, it can suck the fun out of it, and it sucks the creativity out of you as well. And it will turn you dark. It will turn you demonic, like these people in the industry. No, really? The truth says Solange said Beyonce is one of the most depressed women in the industry due to her marriage. I feel bad for her. Is that what she said? Wow, I didn't hear about that. Yep. Dagger Rose says the industry preys on naive, desperate, and hungry talent who just want a chance. That is so true. That is so true. Maka Maka says Tiffany, I think she talked about Beyonce in her writing camps. Yeah. I knew that was some bullshit. I'm like, why would I go to a writing camp? No. Like, and I get it. Again, if you're thirsty enough, if you're desperate enough to get out there, it can help you get to the next level. But girl, I just wasn't willing to put all my ideas out there like that. Just for everybody to just I wasn't willing to do that. Boho Geek says, Money long story is sad. No one wanted to put her on after she wrote so many hits for people. Glad she found success on her own. Yeah. Yeah. And look how long it took her to reach that level of success. Yep. Victoria Monet, the same way. Yep. Yeah, I didn't hear about Solange saying that either. I'll have to look more into that. If that's true, that's very interesting. And I definitely think that for many people like Beyonce, for example, I think that for her personally, the pros outweigh the cons. She probably thinks it's worth it. She's what, almost a billionaire now. Even though I kind of feel like, I don't know, Beyonce working a lot these days. It's like, girl, I mean, have you noticed like she's coming out with all these different products, like the hair care stuff, and then she's going on tour back to back. I think she came out with some type of alcoholic beverage. And it's like, girl, she kind of moving like somebody who needs some money. So what's really going on? I don't know. Is she planning to divorce Jay-Z? I don't know. I'm just thinking about like why is she, doing all of that? I kind of wonder. I don't know if it's because she just wants to work. I don't know if it's because of that. Or maybe she's just, trying to get all the bags she can before she retires. Maybe that's it. I don't know. Maybe that's it. But I just like, girl, you know, it's okay to sit down, B. Like you that girl. Y'all said she's bored. I don't know. Maka Maka says maybe she's in debt or trying to retire soon. Yeah, I think maybe she's trying to retire soon. I don't know. Just saying says before the Jay-Z dot comes out. Okay. That's another one. And I didn't put that picture up here, but Jay-Z got pictures with Diddy too. That's why I said earlier, like, y'all, they have all been in this together. All of them roll together in the same circles. And so it's like, for y'all to be, I just feel like the conversation is not in the right place. It's like these are mostly men who are controlling this entire industry that y'all are saying is highly weird and toxic and demonic, and y'all be talking about the Illuminati and all this shit. Who do you think is running all? It's men. And no, it's not just white men, it's black men too. Like they're all in this together. They're all working together. And so like why aren't we talking more about the men? And again, you know, I'm willing to have a conversation about the women and, how a lot of them go along with this because, they have access to the money too. If you give them access, they're going to go along to get along too. A lot of Diddy's enablers were also women. So, we can definitely have that conversation. We can have the conversation about his mama being toxic and being weird and being fucked up. Like, we can have that conversation. Because I agree with all of that too. But it's like, when it comes to who's pulling all the strings and who has most of the powers, y'all, it's the men. It's the men. And I feel like y'all, and when I say y'all, I'm talking to who it applies to, but I feel like a lot of the women like to focus on other women more than they like to focus on the men who are really at the top pulling the strings. I don't know if it's just because y'all feel like it's easier to just attack the women. I don't know what it is. Or maybe you feel like you can't really do anything about the men doing what they do and you can't because you can't control the men. Maybe it's just easier for you to just control and come down on the women. I don't really know what it is and why women we seem to focus more on the women than the men. Yeah, Sankofa says internalized misogyny, maybe. Yeah, male-centered mindset for sure. Yeah. Yeah, Just Saying says the black community calls the black community a matriarchy. And it's not. It's not a matriarchy. Well, listen, I said I don't know if Solange said that or not. Maybe she didn't. I was just reading the comment. Yeah, they are pretty private. They are. That's why I said I never heard of Solange saying that. Yeah, it's like men overwhelmingly have more power in this society, and that goes for all races of men. So it's like when I hear people say the black matriarchy, it's like they're speaking as if black women have more power than black men. Statistically, that's not true. So I don't really, I mean, if they're talking about some of the black women being the breadwinners in the home, yeah, but that doesn't necessarily make it a matriarchy. So I don't know. I don't agree with that. I never agreed with that. I never thought that was the right term. I mean, just because, you're you're allowing black women to pay the bills because you need a place to stay, or, you're allowing black women to get custody of the children because you don't want to take care of them, that don't make it a matriarchy. That just means you're putting the responsibility on the women because you don't want to do shit. That's not what a matriarchy is, though. So, yeah, he does look like a narcissist in this photo. And the thing is, like, I was like, how did 50 Cent get this footage? It was just, this is just diabolical. And this goes back to what I said about men control all of this shit. Like, 50 paid another man, probably. He paid other men to even get this footage and put this documentary out. All the men worked together to do this. So if all the men were able to come together and put this documentary together, how the fuck was Diddy allowed to get away with this for so long? That means they could have stopped this shit a long time ago. They didn't because they were benefiting from it like everybody else. They were benefiting from it like everybody else. And the minute they didn't get paid anymore, the minute they stopped getting clout or whatever they needed from the situation, here they come with the documentary. Yeah, the director is a woman, and who was she hired by? The director had to be a woman because the victims are women. So you don't think that was strategic on the man's part? What would it look like if it were all men doing this documentary, y'all? Y'all put your thinking caps on, people. Put your thinking caps on. We know why the director is a woman. Because what would it look like when all Diddy's victims are women, right? What would it look like if all of Diddy's former friends were the ones doing the documentary? Like that wouldn't even look right. It would be like, okay, well, they're doing it because they're not getting paid or they're not, of course, like they put women in these certain positions to kind of soften it up a little bit. That's a strategy they've been using since forever, y'all. Yeah, it's that's what I'm saying. Like y'all always gotta bring it back around to it's a woman's fault because the director is a woman, and because the director is a woman, therefore it's women's fault that Diddy did what he did. Like, y'all are so retarded, man. This is just some sick shit. Y'all are just it's ridiculous. Like yeah, black men and male identified women will find a way, baby. They gonna find a way to blame a woman. They gonna find a way to take the heat off the man. Girl, they gonna find a way. That shit is hilarious. Shanna says, right, Diddy is no longer beneficial to the industry, so the protection is gone. Exactly. Exactly. You get it, Shanna. You get it. And thank you for your donation. Yeah, the men protected him this whole time. Yeah, Whitney, I agree. She said if Solange said that, it would be all over the news. TMZ everywhere. Exactly. Yeah. Sorry, y'all. I'm wiping my nose. My nose is stuffed, is stopped up. If you can't tell, I don't know if it's allergies or if I'm getting sick or what. I don't need to be getting sick before Christmas. Yeah, I agree. Listen, I think everyone involved, we need to hold everybody accountable who was involved, including the women. I agree. His assistant is diabolical too. That white lady, that's his assistant. You see, ain't nobody talking about her, and she was responsible for hiding a lot of this shit. But y'all want to focus on his mama. anything to take accountability away from the black man. Says also 50 Cent didn't give proper credit to the director when doing his interviews. I don't know. I just know that Diddy had a lot of enablers around him. But it was not just the women, it was the men too. All those men in that documentary, in my opinion, have blood on their hands because they witnessed a lot of this shit and did nothing. And this is why, even when you see like the documentary and you see the footage of Diddy, he's moving like he just knew that he was gonna get away with this whole thing. Like the way he's moving and talking he's so confident that he's just gonna get away with everything because he's been getting away with it. And let's just be real, he only got what, like 4 years? That was nothing compared to what he did to all those people and how many lives he ruined. And then another thing that pissed me off about the documentary, and I meant to say this earlier, but I was expecting to hear more about Kim Porter. I was expecting to hear more about her death and how Diddy was possibly involved in that, and maybe they couldn't talk about it because of legal reasons or whatever. But it just seems like I was waiting for that part. I was like, okay, are we going to hear about Kim Porter? Because a lot of people were saying that Diddy, he like people would die again, surrounded by death, and people would die under mysterious circumstances when they were around him. And a lot of people suddenly, when they were around him, they got sick from pneumonia, and then they would die from complications of pneumonia. That almost happened to I'll Be Sure. And then, Kim Porter allegedly passed away from complications from pneumonia. And it's like, I don't know. And y'all know that she was supposedly going to come out with this tell-all book, and then they released the book, but they said that it really wasn't the real book. I don't know. And you just never know because she's not here anymore. So we don't know what's true. Yeah, and he beat her ass too. Did y'all see that part in the documentary where Diddy took a picture with Cassie, and then right after that he swapped out and did the same picture with Kim Porter? And so like both of them, he was dealing with both of them at the same time. They really looked like they wasn't really fucking with each other like that. And so they put up with a lot of that shit for a minute. But yeah, I just think it's sad that it's not being investigated like it should, like her death, and see if Diddy's involved in that. And that's another thing, how that men did a lot of the they controlled a lot of the narrative when it came to this documentary, because immediately they framed the mother as the villain. Immediately they did that. And then really didn't say much about Kim Porter. You know what I mean? And it's like, I just feel like if women were, even though the director is a woman, if women were really controlling the narrative in the documentary, I think there would have been a little bit more focus on Kim and the victims just in general. The truth says, how come nobody believes the male victims Diddy assaulted? Yeah, yeah. And then actually, y'all know what I'm trying to say. Actually, I can't say the word because YouTube, but he did all that to the men too. Oh, that's my last picture. Y'all talking about change the shot. I'm sorry. What do you want to see? Yeah, he essayed the men too. And then the way I believe that he essayed the men, but I will say this too. Um DSI says 50 mentioned Kim Porter's story will be told in an upcoming docu-series. Okay, well good. I would like to see that. Um But with the men, okay, it's like I'm not trying to downplay when men get SA'd. I want to put a disclaimer out there for that. But also, some of y'all, I feel like if we can admit, here's what I'm going to say. If we can admit that some of the women were not being forced to do this shit, then we gotta apply that to the men as well. Okay? Because not all of y'all were forced, okay? You were just having fun and you popped your little pills or whatever and you was just fucking on everybody and you was fucking on Diddy too. So let's just be real about that. Like, the way everybody was trying to act like, oh, and he SA'd me and I didn't know what happened the next day. Nigga, please. You knew what happened. You knew what happened. You was just having a little bit too much fun, and you suck some dick or you got fucked in the ass or whatever. Just like, and I said the same thing about some of the women. Like, girl, some of y'all knew what was going on. Not everybody was drugged the whole time. Like, let's just keep it real. Like, stop playing these games. You did it for the money, okay? And that applies to both some of the men and the women. Not everybody were victims in this situation. I'm sorry. Okay, so y'all said that they're gonna add Kim's story to the docu series. So is it gonna be the same docu series? Are they gonna add like more episodes? Yeah, Daphne Joy, she's one of them. That girl just was trying to get her money, okay? And that's why when we behind the wall we talk about ruthless hypergamy. A lot of these girls, they will do that for money. Like, not everybody's being drugged or forced or coerced. Like, some of them just do it for money. And that's their prerogative. But it is what it is. Let's call a spade a spade. If we can acknowledge that some of the women do it for money, then that applies to the men too. Right. And why can't that's a good point, Lady G. Like, they tell the women, why didn't you leave? Why can't we say the same thing to the men? Why didn't you leave? You are a full ass grown ass man. You are an able-bodied man. You had the power to beat Diddy's ass. Why didn't you leave? It's not the same as a woman. I'm sorry. Why didn't you leave? Tam Leo says, I also find it funny how black men only care about Diddy being involved in Pac and Biggie's death, but they could care less about what he did to Cassie and other victims. Yeah. There was very little focus on Cassie. I mean, they did show the video of her getting beat up at the hotel. They showed that. But there was definitely more focus on Pac and Biggie in this particular documentary for sure. And yeah, and I did notice that. I did notice that. But on the other hand, I am glad that they put that out there. And I do wonder too, like, how, because I know there that guy who snitched. I forget his name, but he snitched on what happened to he snitched on Diddy, basically, or allegedly, I should say, allegedly setting Pac up to get unalived, right? And so that trial is set to happen, I think, next year. So Diddy might get more time for that too. So I'm curious if he's gonna get more time for that. Okay, it was the Ciroc commercial. Yeah, that's what it was. Gigi says Cassie did that Ciroc commercial that looked weird. Oh, wait, was that the Ciroc? Was the Ciroc commercial? What him? I don't know. My mic did something weird. Did I cut out? Yeah, I actually saw the sound cut out that time. I don't know what's going on with my computer, y'all. What's the last thing y'all heard me say? Yeah, I think I need a new computer, y'all. I just need to just go ahead and get a new computer because this is crazy. What did y'all hear before it cut out? Ooh. DSI says yes, Diddy is staying in jail. He has 77 pending trials. Wow. That is crazy. Taylor says I agree, like if the female director had more control, she would have focused more on the females and the people he abused, especially what happened to Cassie and others. Yeah. Oh yeah, I was asking the Ciroc commercial. Was that the one they showed in the documentary where Diddy took a picture with Cassie and then took a picture with Kim right after? Yeah, I definitely talked about how 50 Cent ain't shit too. Like, I don't think, even though, it's good that he's doing this documentary, I don't necessarily think we should be handing out an award for, an abuser taking another abuser down because he's mad that he was fucking his baby mama. Like, I don't think they deserve an award for that. I don't think, I don't think that. Oh, y'all are saying those were two different projects. Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's always a possibility. Pink Red says, or maybe the female director is male identified. That's always a possibility with these women. Always. Because we're conditioned to be that way in this society. I was male identified too when I first came online. So, it's like that's definitely a type of conditioning that women have to unlearn. It's really sad. Yeah, I thought that too. The truth says the juror's response even surprised me. That one lady was smiling the whole time. I was getting mad listening to her. It's like nothing funny about this Diddy stuff. Yeah, and I get that the jurors have to be, unbiased and all that stuff. So I think that's why she came off that way. Like they have to be that way. They have to be kind of neutral. But it's like, girl, you could have kept that. Why didn't you stay home? Like that's that's crazy. Like, I just don't see why, especially black women, like, why would you come on the documentary and do that? I don't know. Black women are the silliest when it comes to their image and how they um conduct themselves and how they show up. Like, they're not concerned at all about optics and how certain things look. And I don't know, maybe I guess you don't really know how it's gonna look or how it's gonna be framed until you actually see the finished product, but if I was a juror on the Diddy trial, I would have not agreed to go on a documentary about Diddy. I would have not agreed to do it, especially if I was a woman. Yeah. Yuli says no self-awareness, low self-esteem. That's exactly what it is. Yeah, she did have a twink on her. Like she looks starstruck. She did look starstruck. Yep. Yeah, I think it's all of that. Start being starstruck, black male worship, low self esteem, black male identified. It's all the above. Yep. Kimmy says on the topic of 50 Cent, wasn't he making fun of Naturi's hairline? And then when she told him how hurt she was, he still continued. He's petty as fuck. So is it? Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. I feel like 50 Cent has a history of being very disrespectful, very colorist, featurist, all the things, misogynistic towards black women. And so, and he's always picking at, but he's really petty. He's very, very petty, like Kimmy said. And so, like, no, I'm not going to hand out an award for him just because he did this documentary. No, he's still a fuck nigga. He's still, and this again, he tried to come out and make it seem like, oh, this is not personal. It's not personal with me and Diddy. Yes, it is 50. Like, we can tell. And again, he's a Cancer. Listen, Cancers take a lot of shit personally. I know one because I am one myself. And a lot of times when we're hurt about stuff, we try to get revenge. And so, he's trying to get revenge. That's what it is. His feelings are hurt. And I'm telling you, them Cancer males, them water sign males are worse than the women. When they get hurt, it's even worse. It's like, ugh. It's like, because you have to deal with that, like, the emotions, like, attached with hyper masculinity and toxic masculinity. And so it's like the emotions become very, very just chaotic. It's just crazy. That's why I said water sign males are some of the worst. Seriously. And so, yeah, I wouldn't, I see some black women like, yeah, 50, like, kind of trying to, and that could also be him trying to, like, change his image too a little bit. You know how before Diddy got in all this trouble, he was trying to, like, rebrand and do the whole love thing. Like, he came out with the Love album, and he was, trying to, like, rebrand himself to being this, like, loving guy because he knew what was coming. And so that could be part of what Diddy or what 50 Cent is trying to do too, like, rebrand and trying to, position himself and reframe himself as someone who's like a savior for women or something. You just never know. These men are full of shit. Yeah, I saw that with the astrologer girls, they were saying 50 has a Gemini moon too. Yeah, he's I'm telling you. As somebody who has Cancer and Gemini placements, like, those are my top placements, and I just know how petty we can be and how vengeful we can be too. And when we're hurt, specifically when our feelings are hurt, we get real mean when our feelings get hurt. Y'all know how I can get when I get mad, girl. It's not pretty. It's not pretty. Okay. So when you think about men with those placements, it's like 100 times worse. Not the Love album. I haven't even listened to it. I wouldn't listen to it. But yeah, that's just crazy, y'all. It's just crazy. But yeah, moral of the story, start holding these men accountable. Everything is not their mommy's fault, and it's time that we start focusing more on the real culprits, especially when it comes to the entertainment industry, y'all. Most of this shit is being controlled by men. All races of men too. It's not just white men. Obviously, they control most of it. But when it comes to these black male entertainers, they're colluding with white men. They're working with white men. So they're all in this together, y'all. I should have put a picture up here with Diddy and Clive Davis. Like, they're all in this together. And so let's start putting the blame where it belongs. Again, I don't mind having a conversation about the toxic women who are involved, but let's just be real. Like, it's mostly men. Men are the reason that all of this is happening for the most part. And if y'all are not willing to be honest about that as women, then I can't take you seriously when it comes to you saying that you want to fix the problem. I really don't believe you. If you're not focusing on the men when they make up the majority of the industry and they have most of the power in the industry, and you're not focusing on them and you want to focus more on the women, I just feel like it's fake concern and it's fake outrage, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. I don't know. I don't know if there'll ever be a documentary on Clive Davis. He got too many connections. And it's like, if they try to bring him down, it's too many people that's gonna come down with him. So I don't know. I don't know if they'll actually do that with him. I would love to see a Clive documentary though. I would love that. But I just don't know. I don't know if that'll ever happen. Oh yes, spot on. Just saying, says black women see these pimps as white men's victims. They do. They do. Absolutely. Y'all see black men in the industry as being victims to white men when most of them are working together with them. And it just so happens that white men eventually they, bring them down because either they did something wrong or, they become too powerful or whatever and they bring them down, but that's after they've worked from them and they've gotten all they can from them. So it's not they're not victims, y'all. For the most part they're not. Now, are they treated unfairly sometimes because of the system of, racism and white supremacy? Yeah, like I can't deny that, obviously. But come on, y'all. They're working under this. They're working with the men under the system of white supremacy. They're working with them. So, like, we're not gonna lie about that. Yeah, Clive Davis has a lot of power in the industry. A lot. So, if they put him on blast, if they put him on Front Street, a lot of people are going down, including other white men, other very powerful white men who are in the industry. And so, they got that on lock. But no, black men, for the most part, they are not victims in this system. They're working with the men who are in power. And it's so interesting because they accuse black women of doing that all the time. They accuse black women of working with white men under the system of white supremacy. And sometimes black women do. But we're not just gonna let black men off the hook because they also do it as well. Yes, black men do it too. Yes, what about black men? Absolutely. Yes, yes, yes. It's whataboutism over here all day long, and I'm not apologizing for it. And also, before I go, to all you bitches who are mad that I'm talking about black men, you need to get over it. Like, I don't understand how people can talk about whatever they want on their channels. They can talk about black men all day on their channels and then get mad when I do the same thing. They think I'm supposed to be above that and never talk about black men. Like, what? I cover the trending stories like everybody else. And just because I talk about black men sometimes on my channel, that does not mean that I'm always talking about them or that I'm obsessed with them. I find that to be weird because somebody sent me a video from a girl and she was complaining about the girls in BWE still talking about black men, and it's like, girl, but that's all you talk about too. So I just think it's weird when black women online on YouTube in particular do that. I just think that's weird. Like, all you talk about on your channel is black men, but then you get mad at other black women who do it, and then you're like, I'm tired of seeing it, so why are you still watching it? Like, it's being recommended to you because you're still watching our channels. So apparently you want to hear us talk about black men. That's why I don't believe y'all when y'all be saying that y'all don't want me to talk about certain stuff, but you're engaging with the content where I talk about the stuff that you say you don't want to hear about. Like, you obviously want to hear it because you're still here. You're engaging in the content. So obviously you still want to hear it. You know what I'm saying? Like, so you're lying. This is what you want to see and this is what you want to talk about. I think you're just mad because I'm getting more views than you. When you talk about black men, you don't get as much views, you don't get as much engagement. So I think that's what you're really mad about. You're not mad that I'm talking about black men. You're mad that I'm getting more engagement when I talk about black men and you're not getting that engagement. So just be honest about what it is that you're upset about. Because that's why you're mad. And ma'am, that's not my fault. I'm going to continue to talk about what I want to talk about on my channel. And if you don't like that, you don't have to watch. But you're going to watch because this is what you want to hear about. You want to hear about black males, which is why you talk about them all day on your channel too. You did a video about Diddy last week. So why can't I do a video about him? Like, it's not adding up. I don't get that. And I noticed that like other women in this space do that, and in the hypergamy space too. They'll be like, "Well, why are you focused so much on black men?" But then when a white man does something with a black woman, they're the first ones to cover the story, and it's like, okay, so you can talk about when white men do something wrong, but I can't talk about when black men do something wrong. Like, and then when I talk about men, then I'm obsessed with them somehow. Like, girl, just say you don't want me to talk about certain men, just say you're mad that I'm getting more views than you and go, because that's the real issue here. Like, none of this is making sense. And I don't know when you guys are going to get through your head that you're not going to control what I do on my channel. You're not going to control what I talk about. I'm going to talk about what I want to talk about. Whether it be black men, white people, mixed race women, light-skinned women, colorism, I'm going to talk about what I want. And there's nothing you can do about it. And the more you complain about it, the more I'm going to talk about it, just to piss you off. So trying to get me to shut up, if you're trying to get me to shut up, you complaining about what I talk about is not the way to do it, because I'm going to keep going. That's not how I operate. That's not how I operate. I don't allow people to bully me into silence. That's not what I allow people to do. You're going to get the exact opposite from me. Yeah, Maka Maka says they're so annoying. Like, Chrissy, you talk about everyone. No one is spared. Exactly. Exactly. And then also, I think what people don't realize is that, and I've said this before, and I think I need to keep reiterating it, but if you're past my content and you've already burned the cape, it's not for you anymore. Like, it's okay. I don't get offended if you graduated from my content. I'm trying to reach other black women who are still caping for black men and who haven't burned the cape yet, and who, you know, may not think the way that we think over here already. I'm trying to reach new women, and it's working because I get new subscribers every day. And so it's okay for you to be beyond the conversation, which most of these women, they're not. They're lying. They're not really beyond the conversation. They're not above it because they're still listening. But if you feel that way, then just move on. And better yet, if if you want to see some change in the BWE sector and you think that, we should be focused on other things, then you do it. You be the change that you want to see. If you want black women to talk more about finances, focus more on that, focus more on whatever you think we should be talking about, then you do that on your channel. I'm not a finance channel. I don't want to get up here and talk about finances. That's boring to me. Girl, I hire people to control my finances because I'm not very good in that area, okay? So why would I get on here and talk about that? And then this other girl, she last week she was like, Chrissy, why don't you talk more about femininity, and why don't you still do that content? Because I don't want to talk about that as much as I used to. That's why and a lot of these things I've already done already, y'all. And it's like some of this stuff, there's nothing left to say. I mean, I guess I could say more, but it's like, if the situation doesn't call for me to say anything about that, I'm not gonna say it, and I'm gonna cover these stories as they come. So right now we're talking about Diddy. On the next trending topic, if femininity is mentioned, then yeah, we'll talk about that. But I'm talking about a trending topic. So if I'm talking about a certain trending topic, it's not always going to be about what you want it to be about. You get what I'm saying? And then you don't have to click on that particular video. You can click on something else. Yeah, it's like, and then they say they want that kind of content, right? But then when I was doing it, they weren't watching the content. Like, some of y'all didn't even watch like the strategy content on my other channel. Some of y'all didn't even watch the femininity content over there. Like, it's my first time I've ever seen you in my entire life. You weren't even, I don't remember seeing you over there. And so it's like, do you really want to talk about that? Or are you just trying to deflect because you don't want me calling out black men, or You don't want me calling out colorists, so you're trying to act like you want to hear about something else, but you really don't. Like, I notice y'all do that a lot too. It's just weird. Legally Curvy says, "Okay, Chrissy, move on. Stop explaining yourself. Us loyal ones don't complain and no need to be feminine to feminine males. We're evolving." Listen, and my femininity content wasn't about males. That's the first thing. That's the first thing. And anybody who has the series knows this is not about males. And see, this is why I continue to what you call explaining myself. No, I'm clarifying and I'm clearing up the rumors and the bullshit. But yeah, I've already done several videos on femininity and all that stuff y'all are trying to get me to talk about again. And I noticed too, like, it's certain people on here that want me to like try to prove things to them. You want me to talk about weight loss because you want me to somehow try to prove to you that I lost weight. I don't have to prove anything to you. And I'm not going to talk about weight loss because you call me fat. Like, that's not who do you think I am? Like, you don't control my content. And you think I'm going to talk about that because you want me to talk about that? No, I don't want to talk about that. And I've already talked about weight loss. I've given all my tips. Have a whole folder, by the way, of weight loss items in my Amazon storefront. Check that out if you haven't already. But like, I don't have to get up here and do videos on weight loss. That's boring to me. I don't want to do that. I'm not going to talk about being, because a lot of these girls too, they want me to follow the trends that they're doing. These little 20-year-olds that they're talking about because they're talking about pretty privilege all day. You want me to talk about it so I can somehow try to prove to you that I'm pretty. That's what a lot of these girls want me to come on here and do. They want me to be like, oh, but I am pretty. Oh, but I am skinny. I don't have anything to prove to you. I'm not here to prove myself to colorist people and to little girls who talk about pretty privilege all day. Like, that's a very juvenile conversation. It's for the young crowd. I'm old. I don't want to talk about that. Older women really aren't talking about that on YouTube, are they? If they are, I haven't seen it. But it reads as a very juvenile conversation. So I'm not about to get up here and do that. And so I say all that to say, like, if you don't want to hear my content, then move on to somebody else. And if you think I'm gonna get up here and tap dance for you and try to prove to you, oh, my mic went out. Sorry, I just saw my mic. I don't know what's going on with my computer, but yeah, if you think I'm gonna get up here and tap dance for you and try to prove to you that I'm pretty and I'm skinny because that's what you talk about on your channel, like, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not here to prove myself to you. You don't mean anything to me. So like my content is not going to center around you and what you want me to talk about. You talk about that on your channel. Why do you need that from me? And if I'm a fat, ugly femcel, then why do you want to hear me talk about that anyway? I just find it weird that y'all are trying to control my content. You're not going to control what I talk about. Yep. Miss Narcisse says, and even if you did prove it, they will still harass you. Exactly. Exactly. And so I don't get caught up into that trap with trying to prove myself to weird, random, stalkerish people on the internet. Like, I would never do that. And on top of that, colorist people who are misogynistic. Why would I get caught up in trying to prove myself to you? So you'll never get that on my channel. Whatever you want from me, I'm going to do the exact opposite. Just know that. Just know that. Whatever you want from me, I'm going to do the exact opposite. I don't know if that's the rebellious spirit in me, but whatever these people want me to do and expect, my haters especially, whatever they want me to do, I'm going to do the exact opposite every single time. So if you think you're going to bully me out of talking about what I want to talk about, it's never going to happen, y'all. It hasn't happened in 10 years. It's not going to happen now. I don't know. Legally Kirby says Aquarius moon all day. I have what sign? I think my Jupiter is in Aquarius. So I don't know. Maybe that's the part of my Aquarian side being a little bit rebellious and doing the opposite of what people want me to do. I don't know. But that's very much me though. Like, you think you're going to bully me into submission and bully me into something I don't want to do? No, that's never going to happen. So, yeah. Yeah, Taylor says the psychoticals want more content from you about pretty privilege, methinks. But why? If they say I'm not pretty privileged, then why do y'all want that content from me? That's weird. That is so weird to me. But no, I'm not going to talk about that. I just think I don't. If you notice, y'all, think about it. The pretty privileged women who are actually pretty privileged, they're not online talking about it all day. It's like with me coming online, like it would be like me coming on here to talk about having financial privilege all day and talking about being upper middle class. Like, I don't. That's not interesting to me. I don't know. It's just I'm not knocking those who like that content. I think it's fine, but like I don't want to talk about that. So, yeah, they want to copy you. They definitely do. And that's the thing. Like, another thing is, like, again, I did all that content already. I mean, now they're calling it something different, but I talked about, utilizing your looks to your advantage and, in my femininity content, I talked about all that, the weight loss, all that stuff. Been there, done it. Baby, y'all late. Y'all what? 8 years late. We been there, done it. The femininity movement reached its peak when? 8 years ago? 7 years ago? So why wouldn't you expect me to move on and talk about other things and, keep up with the times? Because what I'm doing is with the times. And when it comes to these trending topics, I talk about them and I try to connect them to what's going on in the present. You get what I'm saying? And what's going on in the real world. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. They're doing my old content, and which is fine, do your thing, but you can't expect me to do what you do. That's why you have your own channels, to do what you want to do and to talk about what you want to talk about. I don't get on here. I don't get on here and try to control other people's content. I just do my own content. So why people are trying to control mine, I don't know, but it's not going to work. So yeah, if you want me to cover any stories, be sure you send them to askchrissy@gmail.com. You can also put your request in the comment section, but I'm probably going to see it sooner if you email them to me. And please email your topic requests with context. If you have any links, if you have any pictures, then add those to the email. And also, like I said before, I'm doing content for Neptunian members and patrons. I got a video coming up soon, so stay tuned for that. But if you're interested in any of my exclusive content where I share my strategies based on trending topics and I share my opinions, then you can definitely check that out and look forward to more content, because I love breaking stuff down and the strategy. And that's kind of what I'm on right now. Just like really breaking down like the human psychology and psychoanalyzing a lot of these trending topics and kind of relating them again to the everyday Black woman's experience and how we can take information from it and learn from it and use them as case studies in the real world. That's kind of what I'm focused on, grown up stuff. Grown up stuff. It might just look like, just random trending topics, but this is like grown stuff. I'm an older woman, and we like just to talk about grown stuff and, leveling up and staying leveled up and how we can navigate society in a strategic way that's most beneficial for us as Black women. That's what I'm on right now. I don't want to get up on here and talk about being pretty. Like, that's just not my content, You're welcome to watch that somewhere else, but that's not what you're going to get over here. You're going to get real world strategy information from my perspective and through trending topics. So if you don't like that, feel free to unsubscribe. It's no hard feelings, but you're not going to be able to control what I talk about. So, you know, let's just get that out the way. But yeah, thank you guys for listening. If you love my content, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Let me know what you want to hear about next. Thank you for listening. Love you. Bye.